one night, while you're home alone, a voice you've never heard whispers your name, don't respond. Because once you answer, something else may answer back. Quiet and escape from memories she never dared to speak of. She rented a stone house on the outskirts of a place called Thistle Hollow, known for being peaceful and oddly abandoned. The few locals she met simply referred to her new neighborhood as the Valley of Silence. They said it was beautiful, but their eyes always looked away when she mentioned the name. Maria arrived on a fog-covered morning. The house was nestled among gnarled trees and tall grass, long untouched by any gardener's hands. It smelled of old wood and cold air. As she unpacked, she noticed something strange. On the hallway wall, faint charcoal writing read, "Do not ask who speaks your name." She brushed it off as an old superstition, graffiti from a past tenant. But something in her chest tightened when she read it. The words felt personal. That night, Maria woke with a start. The house was dark, utterly still, yet she could have sworn someone had whispered her name. Maria. It wasn't a loud call. It was soft, deliberate, and somehow, inside the room, she sat up, heart pounding, but saw nothing. The next morning, she laughed it off as a dream until she saw the chair at the breakfast table had been pulled out, and there were damp footprints leading away from it. Feeling unsettled, Maria decided to explore the land around her home. No neighbors, no barking dogs, no birdsong, just wind cold and constant. Behind her house, she found a small wooden shed locked with an iron clasp. She leaned in, and from inside, she thought she heard a dragging sound, like something metallic being scraped across the floor. But when she called out, no sound came in return. Only silence, heavy and pressing. That night, the whisper returned. This time, closer, clearer. "Maria, please answer." The voice was low, almost begging. She sat upright, and trembling asked, "Who's there?" Silence. But her bedroom mirror rippled. It didn't crack or fog, it rippled like water. Her reflection flickered, and in its place stood a woman with no eyes, no nose, just smooth, pale skin stretched tightly over her skull. A mouth, impossibly wide, curled into a smile that felt like a threat. Maria screamed and knocked the mirror over. It shattered across the floor, but the reflection remained in every shard. That faceless woman stared back. She spent the rest of the night dragging every mirror she could find out into the yard and burying them beneath the cold soil. But the unease didn't leave her. The next day, she set up her old phone to record her bedroom overnight, hoping to catch some proof. She needed to know this wasn't just in her mind. The footage was worse than she feared. At exactly 3:17 a.m., her bedroom door creaked open on its own. A black, undefined shape slipped through the crack and glided to her bedside. The figure leaned in close, as if to kiss her ear, and whispered, "Thank you. I can take your place now." Her sleeping form didn't move, but the camera kept rolling, and what it recorded next made her blood run cold. The shape entered her body, and she never flinched. From that morning on, Maria felt different. Her thoughts became cloudy. Her own voice in recordings didn't sound quite like hers. In mirrors, her smile lingered a second too long after her lips had stopped moving. She went into town to look for answers, but everywhere she walked, store windows and puddles showed not her but that faceless woman, watching her from every reflection, closer each time. An old woman in the town square watched her for a long time before finally approaching. "You don't belong here," she said flatly. Maria explained what was happening, hoping for sanity, even pity. The woman's eyes widened in horror. That voice, it's hers. The one without a face. She speaks your name 3 times. If you respond each time, she becomes you. She paused. "How many times did you answer her, child?" Maria froze. The first night, she stayed silent. The second night, she asked who it was. The third, she replied again. 3, she whispered. The old woman's expression turned solemn. "Then it's too late to save you, but maybe we can stop her from taking someone else." She handed Maria an iron key. "The shed behind your house. Go there." That's where she began. Maria returned home under a sky smeared with red clouds. She unlocked the shed with trembling hands. Inside, she found dozens of mirrors, cracked and stained. In the center sat an old wooden cradle. Beneath it, a brittle parchment. "I was born nameless. When I take yours 3 times, I become real." Under the cradle lay a mask. Smooth, blank, expressionless, but she knew it was her face now. Her real one, long gone. Suddenly, every mirror in the shed began to hum with a low, vibrating tone. Maria turned to leave, but her reflection didn't follow. In the glass, she stood still, wide-eyed, while the real Maria stumbled backward. The reflection reached out from the mirror with hands that looked like hers but darker, twisted, unnatural. The shed door slammed shut behind her, locking on its own. She screamed and pulled at the handle, but it refused to budge, as if the building itself had sealed her fate. Trapped inside, Maria tried to smash the mirrors, but each one cracked only briefly before mending itself. The reflections multiplied. Every surface now showed a different version of her. Smiling, screaming, crying, rotting. One version bled from the eyes, another giggled silently while twitching. She watched as her own face fractured into countless versions, all staring back with a hunger she couldn't understand. It was as if she had never been one person, but many, and they were all being pulled loose from inside her. Then came the whispers, not just her name, but other names, dozens, hundreds, spoken in layers, overlapping like voices trapped inside glass. Some names were in languages she couldn't understand, while others sounded like children or sobbing elders. The air grew heavier, thick like water, and hard to breathe. Maria fell to her knees, clutching her head as the chanting grew louder, until it became a scream only she could hear. A cold, pale light flooded the shed. In its center, where the cradle once sat, now stood a tall figure draped in torn black cloth. Its faceless head tilted slightly, as if in curiosity. It stepped forward without sound, moving as though it floated an inch above the ground. Maria tried to crawl backward, but her limbs felt weak, like they no longer obeyed her. The figure extended a long, fingerless hand and touched her forehead. In that instant, Maria was no longer in the shed. She was nowhere and everywhere. She floated in a space of endless mirrors, where every version of her played on a loop, laughing, crying, aging, dying. But she couldn't move, couldn't speak. All she could do was watch as the real world faded, and her place within it dissolved. Then she saw her own body outside, back in the house. It moved with perfect calm, cooked breakfast, brushed its hair, and smiled in the mirror. Only it wasn't Maria. The thing that now wore her face turned toward the reflection and blinked once. Then it whispered, "I remember who I am now. Thank you, Maria." And the real Maria, watching from the void, began to scream. From that moment forward, the house grew quiet again. Visitors never stayed long. Animals never returned. The townspeople say, if you walk near the property, sometimes you can hear a faint knocking from the old shed, or a voice from inside the walls whispering, "That's not me." Weeks passed, and strange things began happening in Thistle Hollow. Children started waking up with nosebleeds after talking in their sleep, always saying the same name, Maria. Dogs refused to approach the eastern part of town. Even the trees around the property seemed to wither, as if the soil had turned sour. Locals began calling it the unhome, a place you entered, but didn't always leave as yourself. One night, a group of teenagers dared each other to break into the house. Laughing and filming on their phones, they made it past the front door, only to find every mirror turned backward. Every clock frozen at 3:17 a.m. The footage they uploaded ended abruptly, with a static burst. Hours later, one of the boys showed up at home, but he wouldn't speak. He just stared into mirrors for hours, smiling. Doctors couldn't explain it. His parents swore, "That's not our son." Meanwhile, strange videos began appearing on random YouTube channels, videos that no one claimed to upload. Each one was only a few seconds long. A hallway, a mirror, a woman's distorted voice saying a name. Not always Maria. Sometimes it was your name, and sometimes she'd smile at the camera before the screen cut to black. People began writing online about mirror sickness, headaches that came after watching the videos, whispers in the middle of the night. Some swore they saw someone else's reflection when they brushed their teeth. One woman even claimed her husband vanished in front of her eyes, his body remaining, but his voice and movements not his own. Authorities tried to shut down the house. They sent in contractors to demolish it, but the machines failed, inexplicably. One bulldozer simply wouldn't start. Another turned on by itself and crashed into a tree. Workers refused to return, saying the building was watching them. No one wanted to dig near the shed. One man tried. The next day he went blind. His last words before disappearing were, "She doesn't need eyes. Why should I?" Eventually, the house was sealed off. But that didn't stop her. The nameless one had tasted identity. She now lived through screens, glass, and reflective surfaces. All she needed was attention, recognition, a name to hold on to. She was no longer confined to the shed or the house. She was everywhere. Someone looked too long into their own reflection. People began whispering a warning. Never say your name out loud while looking into a mirror after midnight. Because if she hears it, and you say it 3 times, she'll remember you. And once she remembers, you're already hers. It doesn't matter where you are. She will come, wearing your smile like a mask. To this day, no one knows what truly became of Maria. Her disappearance was never solved, and the house remains untouched, trotting, yet somehow preserved, like it's waiting. Only her final YouTube video remains online, posted at 3:17 a.m., showing nothing but a dark hallway and a faint reflection in the distance. The audio is distorted, looping the same sentence over and over. I'm not Maria anymore. Those who've watched it claim strange things start to happen in the days that follow. Reflections lagging behind, voices whispering from phone screens, or mirrors that ripple for just a moment. Some viewers say the video knows your name, that if you listen carefully, the whisper changes. It speaks to you, and if you answer, even in a whisper, then she knows where to find you. Because she doesn't need a home anymore, she only needs a name. Sometimes, silence isn't empty, it's just waiting for the right ears.